Hello, I'm literally sitting in my bathroom right now, on the toilet. Yeah, the only place I could really find that had good lighting in the new flat I'm in was in the bathroom, so yippee. I've just got a new job and I'm starting up in a new location. I've just moved the other day, so all really exciting stuff. And it's sort of my first job since uni. And about 10 years ago today, or just around this time, I'd started thinking about my identity. It was still, you know, a year or two later until the eggshell properly broke and I realised I'm probably within the trans community. But I definitely was thinking about my identity, specifically queer identity, and it was sort of a muddled mess with that and my trans identity, because I'd not really been taught enough about transness, but I knew about some trans people. So I have got a list here in my little planner book, some realizations that I've had in my 10-year transition. And the reason I say 10-year transition, even though I've only been on testosterone since I was about 19, so if I can do the math, it's about 6 years ago. I was on testosterone for 4 and a bit years, and then I went off testosterone, and I'm off testosterone now. There's on my channel there is a lot of videos where I go into the actual science and show a lot of photos and comparisons of how my body has changed on and off testosterone. But in this video, I'm just going to be speaking about some mental realizations. I have come out as non-binary since stopping testosterone, and I guess there's a lot of things that I have realised in the last few years that I didn't know before that, and let's get started. So the first realisation is I will never fully understand my gender, and that's okay. So when I was about 15, maybe even younger, I was going through some realizations with sexuality, so looking at bisexuality and sort of dressing up in different outfits that were like friends who were guys that I knew, dressing up in their sort of outfits. And I got my hair cut a little bit shorter, I got a fringe, and sort of like had like straight dark hair, and was coming to terms with the way that I wanted to express myself, which was a bit more on the sort of generically, I guess, masculine range in comparison to what I was wearing before. And at the time I was still out with my old name, which is Tia, and I then came out as a lesbian, and then this was in college. I came out around 16 as a lesbian, and then I came out as a demi-boy, then I came out as a trans man, and then for a while I went sort of through my social transition being a trans man, as well as my physical transition as a trans man, where when I was 17 and I came out as a trans man, a few years later I then started testosterone. In the same year I had top surgery, and following that I was on hormones for a while. But during this time I had some realizations even further that I didn't want to continue testosterone. I stopped, and also I came out as non-binary, but I started off by coming out as gender fluid, and this is when I went from identifying as trans man to gender fluid, and then I've come out as gender neutral, non-binary, pangender, just so many labels. And I think I've generally realized that I can't fit a label with whatever I'm feeling. And not only do I not understand my gender, I don't think I'm ever going to understand the concept of gender, because it's really confusing. Or like my style, I have so many different styles, from like sort of vintage vibes, like different era vibes, to emo, to fairy fae, to Bioshock steampunky vibes. There's just so many different vibes that I go for, and not only with that, whether it's feminine, masculine or androgynous, I can't really pick one. I usually stay down the androgynous route, and I do like to go by they, them, and I love it when I appear androgynous or people can't really tell, you know, can't really tell my gender at birth or assigned sex at birth. But I love that, I get a thrill from that, and I don't know exactly why I do, but it doesn't matter. It's how I feel, and I'm just listening to my body and what makes me happy. So the only thing that I understand about my gender at the moment is that I have no specific gender, and I probably never will, but also that might change. So for example, moving on to my realization number 2, my expression and gender seem to be related. So for example, I just got a haircut, so I have, it's like a weird mix between a like bowl cut and a mullet, so that's very interesting. But I literally just got this today and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I don't think I've ever had like a better haircut. I just absolutely love it. I feel like it goes with my vibe perfectly. I do think it's rather androgynous, and I love the androgynous vibe. But for example, when I cut this and I was in a particular outfit, I felt like I identified as trans masc. I don't know how to explain why that is, and I've stopped trying to explain it at this point in my transition. But I just felt like my identity was masc, or at least I wanted to present as, whether it's on the masculine end of presentation, and also I wouldn't mind presenting as a guy with this shorter hair. And one of the main reasons that was very interesting is in my work, because I'll be working in some in a space imaging sector, so I'll be working as an engineer in some clean rooms. I kind of wanted my hair to be shorter, a bit more out of the way, a bit more easy to deal with in the mornings, because my hair can be quite curly, it can go kind of crazy. I find it to be easier to deal with, but also I'm not allowed to wear makeup in the clean rooms when I'm, you know, preparing the technology. And I feel like I present myself femininely with makeup. That's just how I present myself. And I feel best and most euphoric presenting femininely when I have makeup on. Whereas the most euphoria I felt is when I'm not wearing makeup but I have shorter hair. I don't know exactly why. I don't think I'll ever quite know the, you know, the goings of my mind in that particular way. But I just know that I feel more confident with shorter hair without makeup and with longer hair with makeup. Interesting. So because I won't be able to wear makeup, I decided to go for a look which is a bit shorter, something that I'll feel a bit more confident in. Point number 3, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. So I used to be a trans medicalist. I thought if you're allowed to call yourself trans, you have to transition. You have to have the surgeries, want to have the surgeries, have full dysphoria in every aspect of your body. It was very weird. I was very much a pick-me. I've talked about this in videos in the past. It's not a chill vibe, in my personal opinion. So, well, it just, in general, it isn't a chill vibe, not in my opinion, because it's accurate. But just not a good opinion to have, especially with the fact it's all or nothing. And the reason why I spent so long on testosterone and didn't want to get off it and was having like internal gender crises on testosterone was because I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to be a detransitioner if I stop taking testosterone, and I'm going to be a laughingstock. And it's just like, it's such a toxic, it's from this toxic culture that we had like back in 2016. It's still currently leaking into the modern day, but there was this really toxic culture of kind of like, haha, you were wrong, you regretted it. And the fact I told everyone, oh my gosh, I'm a man, I know that I'm a man in like the wrong body. That's something I never say anymore. I never say the words, I'm in the wrong body, because I think it's really bad. In my personal opinion, I think it's not a good thing to say, because you know, I think it's more that society has to change rather than we have to change. And so saying we're in the wrong body don't get me wrong, I went on testosterone. I love how my voice has changed. I love my flat chest, so I'm all here for tweaking the body, but I don't use the words I'm in the wrong body anymore. And when it comes to medical transitioning, as I wrote down here, it can just be a bus that you hop off at your stop. So when you feel right, I've seen a few people commenting recently actually, being like, I've seen your videos and I'm also thinking of maybe going on for a bit and going off. And it's true, you know, it doesn't have to be that big of a deal going on and off hormones like I thought it was when I was on hormones. You can just say, hey, I'm at a good point. I like where I'm at right now, and stop taking hormones. And you can obviously keep going if that's what you like as well. But for me, I don't know why, but I used to panic being like, oh my God, everyone is gonna think that I actually don't want to, you know, I'm going back. And that's also not a problem either if you are on hormones and you're like, I'm not fancying this, and your identity changes, or it changes back to, you know, what it was before. But I guess I used to have that all or nothing mindset, and it really did hinder me when it came to wanting to freely just feel my, you know, what my mind is feeling and how I'm feeling in that particular moment. And I was trying to ignore it because I thought to be trans I had to be on hormones. It's just not the case. There's a really accepting, lovely community out there who just don't believe that, and they will respect you as you are, even if you're whatever you decide with your medical transition. So yes. Point number 4, people are generally too stupid, cowardly, rude, and or lazy to respect you, but the ones that do are golden. So I know this is kind of crazy to say straight up, but it is true. I've lost a lot of friends and I've had to cut off a lot of people recently because of the nonchalance behind misgendering me. People will straight up misgender me and will not correct themselves at any point, or friends, I'll have friends and their friends and family will be misgendering me, and this has happened with multiple of my friends that I've recently had to distance myself from, but their friends or family will be constantly misgendering me and they won't correct them because that's just what I like on my behalf, because if it's your friends, I feel very uncomfortable correcting them, only because too many times have I been called like the sensitive trans person, or like, oh okay, like I didn't mean it, you know. Often when I correct someone, there's some retaliation, but when a cis person corrects someone, they're more likely to listen to them. I hate that it's accurate, but it's one of those things where I'm learning to try and stand up for myself, and even 10 years after the first time I questioned my identity, I'm still figuring that out because it is really difficult. But I'm confident I'll get there. But I just need to learn to stick up for myself, especially when it comes to pronouns, because recently only my partner Max and like 2 or 3 friends have actually been using the correct they them pronouns for me, and in other cases I've literally ranted about the fact people misgender me all the time in a conversation to someone, and then they've misgendered me and not corrected themselves. And it's not the accidental misgendering that I get mad at, because we all make mistakes, it's totally understandable, but it's the fact they don't even realise that they've done it enough to correct themselves, even after in that conversation I had spoken about my pronouns. And I just think they must be very stupid. I mean, I don't even know what to say about that, but yeah, I've lost a lot of friends recently over the whole trans thing, but honestly, the people that I have that do respect me in that way and will correct themselves, if they make a slight mistake, they'll just be like, oh, sorry, they, them, and that's all you have to do, and I'm happy, really. They are just some of the loveliest people, and this brings me on to the next point. Trans and queer people are the best. And also allies and stuff like that. I know my partner's cis and he is just amazing with all this stuff. Like, you know, he's just never made me feel like I have to conform to any kind of binary gender at all. But I recently went to Brighton Pride, and I met up with some friends, like my friend Kovu. I've done a video with Kovu in the past, and it's just been, it was just amazing seeing them again. And met some other trans and non-binary people, and they were just amazing. Honestly, everyone I met, it made me realise that there is hope and there is goodness in the world. The amount of just gentle friendship and openness to love and just like communication. Even just someone sitting next to me, they'd say, is it okay if I sit close to you? Is it okay if I touch you on the arm? They were so amazing with like consent, understanding, pronouns, communication, asking me what my pronouns are. And I never get that when I'm around a big group of cis people. It may just be the cis people I'm around, but I've realised that whenever I am around trans and queer people and people who are allies and understand, you know, and know trans people, I am so comforted and so happy and so relieved in comparisons to all of my other experiences. For example, being back in my hometown and being around other people, where it's just not the greatest experience. Honestly, I know there can be bad people in every single community. I'm not saying it's 100% true that all cis people are bad. Of course, I'm not saying that, because my partner is cis, so, you know. But it's a feeling like no other, being around a group of trans people and queer people and people who just understand and don't try and play devil's advocate, or don't just straight up disrespect you to your face and not even correct themselves. So that's my little rant about how I love my community and also people that I have just met on my journeys that have made me feel so loved and respected, and I love and miss them all, so hopefully I'll see them soon. Also this, you can find love even if you yourself don't conform, and I am worthy of love. So I used to have a really bad mindset that I wasn't really worthy of love because of my identity, and it got really worse when I came out as non-binary, but I found Max, and Max is absolutely amazing, and he respects me and my identity, and our love isn't about that sort of like dynamic of gender. It doesn't matter, and I know it seems hopeless in some cases. I was feeling that before I met Max, but it isn't. There are people out there for you, and there's also T for T, so let's go. Point number 6, point number 7, that was just point number 6. I will always be a representative for my community, even if I don't try to be. So what I was saying earlier about like how I'm seen as like sensitive, or like, you know, if I correct someone, I'd be like, oh yeah, of course you're sensitive. Because when a trans person does something, they're often grouped in with, yeah, all trans people do that. And it's just a thing. If you watch any media right now, it's very toxic towards the community. And whether you do something good or bad, you'll be a representative. So in my workplace, there is a good chance when I start, I'm going to be the only one that is trans or non-binary. Especially like in almost all of my friendship groups, I've just been the only one that's been non-binary. And a lot of them haven't been very respectful to me, and I've had to get out of those friendship groups. Sensitivity is not anything to do with demanding respect. That's like a basic, just demanding someone to respect you and how you have chosen and you have said to them that you wish to be referred to as. That isn't being sensitive. That is just like the basic, like, how you should treat other human beings. But also, you should be able to be sensitive. You're allowed to be sensitive about things that matter to you, and you're allowed to tell someone that those things matter to you and that they should actually try a bit harder. They can't just claim, oh well, you know, I'm not going to do that. In that case, stay out of my area, you know what I mean? Step at least 2 meters away from me. If you're just going to choose to ignore the boundaries that I have set, or the boundaries that people in the community have set. And I just know that in the job that I'm doing, especially in the STEM field, in that type of industry, I might well be the only representation, so I do kind of have to be a little bit careful. But I'm still excited to be representation for my community in STEM, and I'm always going to strive to try and teach people about non-binary identities and how I identify, but also I won't allow them to waste my time if they're asking questions that they could easily Google, which happens more often than you think. And if you're trans, you know this. Number 8. Apologies. Number 8, I need to make my own clothes if I am to feel 100% right. In my time transitioning, I have realised that no clothes will ever properly fit me if they are made for one or the other gender, and I'm going to need to figure out making my own clothes. I don't really know many online ones that quite work in this style. There's a few, but usually they're not in the UK, and it takes a lot to ship to here, so I'm going to start making some clothes. And I've said previously on the channel, and I've shown some processes and designs of the clothes I want to make, but I'm going to be showing that sort of process in future videos. I brought my sewing machine with me, so we'll definitely do that soon. Right, number 9. I need to be there for my community and people who face the same challenges in society as me. Because it seems like not many people have our back, but the community has our back. As I've said previously, trans people are the ones who make me feel the most respected and supported when I'm around them. And yeah, I just absolutely, I don't know. I can't quite explain what it's like to be in this community if you're cis. It is very difficult, but it is a constant pressure that society puts on us. And whatever happens, I will basically be a support and a guide for my community. And because of this, I'm making and launching a club. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to be involved in this club. It's going to be a virtual, probably on Saturdays and Sundays, creative club doing creative writing. It's going to be set in a D&D realm, so you'll have to create your own characters, a little bit of escapism, and there may be some D&D stuff that we're going to do in the future. But first off, it's just got book club, creative writing sessions, craft sessions, you know, sharing some hobbies and things like that. So I'll keep you updated, and I'll probably post an entire video if I launch the club. But let me know in the comments down below if you're interested. And also that my Instagram DMs are open. I do have like an email which I'll be sharing soon, but go follow my Instagram if you want updates on that. So finally, I need to move somewhere, whether it's physically or emotionally. Britain's not the best place to be right now with the rules, regulations, and the fact I legally don't exist as a non-binary person. But also, I've realised that I've moved on from a lot of friendship groups, but I've also realised that I need to find people who are understanding. And I'm really excited now that I've moved into a city. I'm really excited to meet some people and go to some groups and like club events and things like that, to meet people in the community so that I feel a bit less alone and a bit less different from everyone, because I've been made to feel quite different in the past year, which isn't a bad thing. It's just the way people made me feel different was questionable. But I'm really excited. I've booked in, just to end up this video, I've booked in for me and Max, my partner if you don't know, I've booked for me and him to go to a drag show. It's called Panic at the Drag Show. So it's sort of an emo Halloween drag show, and I'm hoping I'll be able to sort of meet some people there. So that would be really cool. And I don't know, that's 10 of my realizations I've had in the 10 years since transitioning emotionally. And during that 10 years, I've done a social and also physical transition and medical transition. I've done multiple of them, for loads of different genders and stuff. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. You can just pick my brain about the time of me being on hormones and stuff like that. Thank you for watching. Sorry it's been so long since my last video. I've been working on getting a job and I got it, and also moved, so that's exciting. And I will keep you all updated on what's going on in the future with my work, and I may do some nerdy videos as well, going through the kind of topics that I cover in the workplace. So I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.